Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another session of the 7 Stages of Life put on by the Beezone. And tonight's discussion will be about the 7th stage of life.
Which we're not qualified to talk about. Actually, we are. We have 2 passes in this qualification to qualify us to speak about this. Primarily our association with beloved Adi Da, who the great 7th stage realizers, who has baptized us and trained, given us endless baptisms of his 7th stage realization, which we are sorely incapable of conducting. But that's one, our gifts from him, and it's a paradox. It's a great and even the great paradox to speak about the realization of truth. So that kind of is our past to be able to even speak, to be so bold as to speak about this. But it's not boldness at all. So don't take our. We're willing to be foolish.
we actually have to be foolish to even begin to even come into this topic, if you will, or subject of the 7th stage teaching or realization of Adi Da Samraj, who is the revealer and the only one who has been given or has received or has been transmitted what we're about to even talk about in any simple way to his realization or the realization of what the great sages and the great saints and the yogis and the philosophers and the scientists and everyone is grappling with.
Have pointed to, have touched. There's been premonitory approaches and realizations, but his is the greatest, fullest 7th stage realization in human history. And hopefully over the next few sessions, we'll talk about the uniqueness of the 7th stage in history, as well as the essence and his gift of it in the present.
And that's not as if you've heard, or if you listen to what Frank just said, is that it's not a small statement to claim that this 7th stage realization of Adi Da Samraj is the first full and only and greatest, if you will, in all human history.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
So
now it doesn't seem that way when you study the saints and you study the ways, you study the sages, you embrace the great paths. What do you realize? You realize God. Well, isn't that the 7th stage? Well, yes. And there's other things to be said, and that other things will be the clarification of why his revelation is so magnificent.
And so just to qualify what Frank said also is to say that when you say God, you're also speaking truth. Mm-hmm. You're speaking reality.
Ground.
Source
condition.
The complete package, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Consciousness itself.
Of the unconditioned.
Unconditional.
And the conditioned. So it's always the play between the one and the two, or the many. Mm-hmm. And it's the play. So if you're coming into this 7th stage topic or discussion tonight without previously going through or understanding the first 6 stages that we've already covered, then there may be a liability to your understanding, because if you're going to try to jump right in to the 7th stage without fully understanding not what is previous, in a way, to the 7th stage, but the full consideration of what the 7th stage realization of Adi Da Samraj is about.
Right, and the of the things I loved about living in Adi Da for the decades we have is Adi Da was insistent that we study the great traditions so that we would be conversant in all religious language, all spiritual language, and on one we got well educated, on the other we got to see the uniqueness of what he is offering and what he is given and giving. So it is essential that you study the 6 stages, and our little humble introduction is a good way to start.
And so may I ask then, what makes his proclamation, if you will, of the 7th stage, his 7th stage realization, to be the first and the only and the last?
Great questions.